Good afternoon, and thank you for inviting me to share my story with you. I hope it will serve to inspire and motivate. I was born here in Nihad but had to be hospitalized as a 5-month-old baby. The diagnosis was TB meningitis, for which I had to be operated on to save my life. This it did, but it left me with a left-sided hemiplegia, the most obvious sign of a brain injury. Over the first 10 years, my parents tried every form of conventional and unconventional therapy that they had ever heard of. I spent hundreds of hours doing physiotherapy, occupational therapy, biofeedback, Ayurvedic massages, and that's just to name a few. None of these brought any positive change. I still had problems with my vision, reflexes, coordination, and balance, often falling several times a day, injuring myself, even though I was fitted with a shoe race to reduce my limp. I did, however, learn to compensate. I became super smart at figuring out how to use the right side of my body optimally, especially my right hand, to do almost everything that all of you do manually. Around this time came the slow realization that a hurt brain can't be fully fixed. I couldn't function well in school, but I had a wonderful set of friends that never let my spirit sink. On my 10th birthday, my parents attended a course in Philadelphia called What to Do About Your Brain Injured Child. They came away convinced that if there was one thing that would make a difference to my life, this was it. Thus, starting the most grueling, tough days of my young life, I began a holistic neurological reorganization and stimulation program prescribed by the Institutes for the Achievement of Human Potential. To do the program, I had to be pulled out of school. It addressed every aspect of my life. I was doing a physical, physiological, and intellectual program involving diet and respiration. It took 12 to 14 hours every single day. Believe me, that's tough for a 10-year-old. What kept me going through the pain, loneliness, and hard work was for once I was seeing improvement in my condition. It also involved my mom working with me on the physical and physiological aspects, ensuring my diet and nutrition was in check, and crafting out an individualized intellectual program. We were on this program for 4 long years that felt more like 10. But as a result, I was physically fit, physiologically stronger than many, and intellectually at level with my peers. At this point, I wanted to reintegrate into school and start leading an age-appropriate life, which I did. I then finished my IGCSE exams and then moved to Singapore on my own to study interactive multimedia design at the Raffles Design Institute. It was joyful to be finally leading a normal life. My years on the program, however, taught me the importance of staying physically fit, but I was so done with therapies. I wanted to stay fit like everybody else. So I joined the gym and I loved it. At the time, my trainer and his running group were training for the Standard Chartered Bombay Marathon back in 2012. On a whim, I decided to give it a shot. My first run being just 1.2 kilometers, I remember questioning myself, boy, what have I got myself into? 21 kilometers seems a whole lot more. Many people told me I wouldn't go the distance, and I wanted to prove them wrong. But equally, friends, family, and well-wishers were supportive and encouraging. And this is the role I would like to play in the lives of those less fortunate. Most of all, I wanted to be the best I could possibly be with what I had been given. Over time, I found I was running easier over longer distances. And with continued training and dedication, I could finally see myself crossing that half marathon finish line. Looking back at my first marathon, I remember being pretty nervous. Worse than me were my parents, who are in the crowd today. But I had their support along with my entire family and all our friends who stood by the road to cheer me on the entire route. I managed to finish the run in 3 hours and 27 minutes, qualifying for the following year. I remember being pretty nervous, I remember being pretty exhausted, but so elated. thus starting a new journey for me. Right? And this, if I can do it, so can all of you. And this is my message. Believe in yourself, follow and focus on your passion, and remember, everyone is good at something. To kickstart my desire to make a difference in other people's lives, I started a project called Runstrong. Runstrong aims to inspire by example, to motivate athletes that are differently abled to find higher successes in their choice of sport. Once they build the faith in themselves, they can do the same and build it in others. On a separate note, both my maternal grandparents are cancer survivors, who I love greatly, who I know, whose illness impacted me deeply. And at some point I found myself wanting to run for their cause, to raise funds for cancer research and treatment, and to create an awareness for the dreaded but treatable disease. I thank you all for listening, and I want to thank my family and all our friends who have been the backbone through it all, who I know will continue to be the backbone, and together I hope we can stay healthy and help others get healthy too. If I can kindle a flame of hope in those to find their true aspirations, I will have lived a very satisfactory life. I thank you again.